Have you ever thought about how one person's betrayal could change the entire course of history? What if Voldemort's rise to power depended not on his own abilities, but on the cowardice of a single wizard? In today's video, you will find out why Peter Pettigrew from Harry Potter became a traitor and what happened to him. Few characters in Harry Potter are as despised as Peter Pettigrew. Unlike other villains who at least had their reasons, however twisted, for choosing the dark side, Peter was different. He started as a friend, as one of the good guys, yet betrayed everyone who trusted him. And his betrayal led to the greatest tragedy of the wizarding world. From the moment he stepped into Hogwarts, something felt off. Gryffindor was the house of bravery, yet Peter was neither brave nor strong. He was weak, always clinging to those more powerful than him. That's how he became part of the Marauders: James Potter, Sirius Black, and Remus Lupin. But was he ever really one of them? James was indifferent to Peter, treating him like a harmless tag-along. Sirius, however, despised him. He mocked him, belittled him, and never saw him as an equal. Peter smiled, laughed along, but deep inside, resentment was growing. Resentment that would one day lead to the ultimate betrayal. When Voldemort's war began, the Marauders stood against him. At first, so did Peter. But deep down, he had always craved power. And who could offer more power than the Dark Lord himself? Perhaps it wasn't just fear that made him switch sides. Perhaps after years of being the weakling, Peter finally saw a chance to matter. To prove his loyalty to Voldemort, he did the unthinkable. He became the secret keeper for the Potters' hiding place. Instead of protecting them, he led the Dark Lord straight to them. And just like that, James and Lily Potter were gone. But Peter wasn't finished yet. When Sirius confronted him, he played his final trick, framing Sirius for the betrayal. In a single moment, he killed 12 innocent people, faked his own death, and left Sirius to rot in Azkaban. The perfect crime. For 12 years, he lived in hiding as a rat, not just figuratively, literally. Disguised as Ron Weasley's pet, he avoided capture, unnoticed and forgotten. But fate had other plans. A single photograph in a newspaper gave him away. Sirius, locked in Azkaban, saw the image and knew the truth. Sirius escaped. He found Peter. And in a tense confrontation, the truth was finally revealed. Yet, in a twist of irony, it was Harry Potter who spared Peter's life. A decision that would later cost the wizarding world dearly. Peter fled once again, but this time he had only one place left to go. He sought out his old master, Voldemort. Weak and powerless, the Dark Lord needed Peter just as much as Peter needed him. Together they began the dark ritual that would bring Voldemort back. Peter paid a heavy price for his loyalty. He sacrificed his own hand in the resurrection ritual, earning a new magical silver one from Voldemort. But loyalty meant nothing to the Dark Lord. Peter was no longer useful. He became nothing more than a servant, given only the most degrading tasks. His final moments were as pathetic as the life he had lived. When he hesitated to kill Harry just for a second, his own enchanted hand, gifted by Voldemort, turned against him. It strangled him where he stood, punishing him for his moment of weakness. Peter Pettigrew died the way he had lived, powerless and alone. In the movies, this moment was erased. But in the books, it was the perfect ending for a man whose betrayals shaped the fate of the wizarding world. Peter Pettigrew was a Gryffindor. That fact alone seems like a mistake. Gryffindor was the house of bravery, of heroes like Harry Potter, James Potter, and Sirius Black. But Peter, he was weak, cowardly, always hiding behind someone stronger. Why did the Sorting Hat place him among the courageous instead of sending him to Slytherin or even Hufflepuff? At first glance, Peter had nothing in common with the house's ideals. He wasn't fearless like James or bold like Sirius. He never stood up to bullies, never took risks for the greater good. He clung to powerful friends, seeking protection rather than adventure. And yet the Sorting Hat had its reasons. Bravery doesn't always mean running into battle with a wand raised. Sometimes it's about survival. Peter was never the strongest, but he was cunning in his own way. It took nerve to follow the marauders, to keep up with their dangerous mischief. Becoming an animagus, sneaking into the forbidden forest, helping a werewolf transform safely each full moon. These weren't acts of a completely spineless wizard. James and Sirius, with their overwhelming confidence, likely never saw Peter's struggles. To them, he was just a tag-along, a follower. But Peter had his own kind of bravery, one fueled by desperation. He feared being alone, feared being powerless. That fear pushed him to make choices that required a certain twisted courage. Dumbledore once said, "Becky, we sought too soon." Maybe Peter was brave at 11, or maybe the Hat saw something no one else did. Gryffindor wasn't just about heroes, it was about those who dared, even if their courage was misplaced. Peter dared to betray his friends, to serve Voldemort, to deceive the world for over a decade. That took nerve, however twisted. When Voldemort's war began, Peter faced a test of his courage. Stay with his friends and risk death, or switch sides and live. Many would call his choice cowardice. But Peter knew the consequences. He didn't just hide, he actively sought out the Dark Lord, a move that could have easily backfired. And when the time came, he sealed his fate with a decision no ordinary coward would make, betraying James and Lily, dooming an innocent child. Even after Voldemort's fall, Peter's survival instinct kept him going. He lived as a rat for 12 years, hiding in plain sight, watching the world move on without him. When Sirius returned, he had a choice again, run or fight. He chose to live, to beg for mercy, to manipulate the situation in his favor. Not a Gryffindor's courage, perhaps, but a survivalist's bravery nonetheless. J.K. Rowling herself hinted that the Sorting Hat looks at more than just personality. It sees potential. Perhaps Peter had the potential to be brave in the right circumstances. Maybe, in a different world, he could have stood by his friends instead of running. Maybe, if James and Sirius had treated him differently, he would have become a different man. One of the most ironic moments in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows proves this point. When Peter hesitated to kill Harry, it wasn't cowardice that stopped him. It was a flicker of something human, a moment of regret. The magical hand Voldemort had given him saw this as betrayal. It strangled him before he could change his mind. Peter, in the end, paid the price for his misplaced courage. Gryffindor's bravery isn't always about heroics. Sometimes it's about the choices we make when we're afraid. Peter's story is a tragedy, not because he was weak, but because he had just enough courage to do the wrong thing. The Sorting Hat may not have made a mistake, it simply saw a kind of bravery